What's that over there?
Oh, never.
Shit, that was a fail.
Try to be tricky.
What's up, guys? It's Brooke
and Chelsea,
and today we're going to talk about ways to better communicate in a relationship. I'm sure these are all things you've heard before, but we're just repeating it for you guys because it's something that we found personally helpful in our relationship. We just wanted to share some of the struggles that we faced when it comes to communication. So the first and obvious point is listen to your partner. I know I personally have a tough time with this one. I have a tough time listening to most people talk. I feel like most people who have trouble listening, it's because they're nervous that they're not being heard and they're so eager to get their point across. But you know, by jabbing your point into the other person's head, that's not going to make them listen to you even better. So
the next point is be honest with your partner. This is something that I have to work on. Not that I keep secrets from Brooke, but I'm always second guessing on what I should bring up to her, when in fact I should bring up everything to her. You know, communication is key. Growing up, I wasn't always able to share my feelings, and so I just kind of became a very closed off, quote unquote, secretive person just because I kept my thoughts to myself. But since being with Brooke, I've been able to open up a lot more, and she's taught me, you know, how to effectively communicate my feelings. You know, being open means putting yourself out there, and no one likes to be vulnerable, but you know, a relationship can't reach its full potential without being, you know, 100% open with your partner.
the next point is try to pay attention to those nonverbal signs. Try to be attuned to how your partner is feeling, and really train yourself to pick up on those cues. And you know, every person's different. Maybe they're really quiet, or you know, making passive aggressive comments, or like freaking out about something minor when like clearly something major is bothering them. Learning to pick up on the silent cues are the best way to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, like Brooke said, trying to pick up on the cues. For me, I have a tone about myself.
I'm very sensitive to how things are being said. Like, that means so much more to me than what's actually being said. I'm so focused on like how that person said something, and then that makes me go into detail about like, well, what are their motives to why they're saying what they're saying. So yeah.
The next point is learn to say what you mean. That's a really tough one for me. I tend to be passive aggressive when something's bothering me. So, you know, I'll come in and I'll be like, the kitchen looks disgusting, instead of just being like, babe, can you wash the dishes? I don't know how that started, or it may stem all the way back to my childhood, but this is something that I'm constantly working on. So sometimes we expect our partners to read between the lines, and that's not fair to them, because then you're just inevitably gonna stay mad at them and they have no idea. So just, you know, try to be direct about your thoughts so that, you know, your partner isn't confused about, you know, where your motives are.
Yeah, you know, to Chelsea's point, that's always my problem. I'm always so sold on like, what is a person's motives? Like, are you trying to be right? Are you trying to hurt me? Are you trying to prove a point? Like, if you're just being straight up and direct with me, then I can eliminate all the other, you know, all the other bullshit I might be thinking about. So, you know, it's important to know when a conversation is no longer being productive. You know, understanding this earlier in the conversation will just help you be able to like sort of change your strategy to better get through to them. If you guys are just going back and forth and it's no longer about reaching a solution, but more of just about getting a reaction out of each other, like there's no point in continuing the argument. Like,
yeah, I think that point is key. Honestly, you don't want to just keep fighting to keep fighting. That's, you know, nothing but poison, and it's toxic for your relationship. So if you feel like your partner's saying one thing and you're saying the other, and you're just repeating yourselves at each other and not even talking to each other anymore, then that's when you just need to stop, gather your thoughts, and just calm down, because neither of you are going to be receptive if that heated. And you know, next is like, don't be accusatory. You know, don't start a conversation with, you never do this, or you always do this. The partner is just automatically going to put their guard up, and they're going to get defensive, and they're not going to be able to really hear what you're trying to say because you attacked them. Instead, like, say, I feel as though, or sometimes when you do this, it makes me feel. Make it less about what they're doing wrong and more about how it makes you feel. The conversation will be much more productive if you change that little approach.
The next point is having a game plan before you begin any conversation or argument. This is where the lines definitely get really tricky for Chelsea and I, just because Chelsea is the type of person who likes to take the time, gather her thoughts, figure out what words she wants to use. I'm the type that likes to just jump in there and rip the band-aid off and get it over with. So I've personally just had to train myself to be able to take a step back and be okay with just taking the time to gather your thoughts, and it's helped me too, to be honest with you. You know, I have a bad habit of jumping right in there and telling Chelsea 15 things she's doing wrong, but I need to just take a step back and really think about what is the one main point I'm trying to get across. You know, and to that point, if your goal is to just make your partner feel bad about what they've done, that's not an active goal. What does that do? That leaves them with a broken heart and nothing else. So that's not enough of a reason to start a conversation or an argument. Really truly identify what is the action item you're trying to get out of this conversation. I guess my issue has always been, you know, if Chelsea has the time to come up with a carefully worded answer, she won't say everything that's on her mind. You know, I'm the type of person who wants the raw, like, details of how it is you're feeling, but sometimes the raw details isn't how she's accurately feeling and just emotional in the moment. So I need to give her time to really understand how she's feeling. And
so, you know, to touch on that, also try to put yourself in your partner's shoes. Empathy can be one of the most powerful tools in a relationship. Why are they feeling that way? You know, trying to understand how they feel. You don't necessarily have to agree.
You know, to Chelsea's point, it is important to empathize with your partner, and every person is different. Every person has so many different complicated emotions and different triggers to trigger those complicated emotions, and them being your partner, they're your partner because they hope you understand them in a way that no other person in the world does. And so if you're not understanding them or even taking the time to try to understand them, then that's not a meaningful relationship. Figure out why they tick the way that they do.
Yeah, and then another point would be, you know, learn to let your partner finish. I know it's hard that, you know, if you hear something your partner said that you feel is completely ridiculous or you don't agree with, it's hard not to just jump in and, you know, have your own opinion. Really try to make a mental note of that point and then hold it till the end and, you know, let them finish, and then you can say it, because jumping in and interrupting them can make them feel like you don't respect them enough to even hear what they have to say, and then automatically they're going to be guarded. So letting them finish and get everything they need to say out, they'll be much more receptive of what you have to say.
You know, it's important to learn to compromise and pick your battles. You know, it's not about always being right. It's about, you know, cultivating a healthy relationship. So it's not about arguing for the sake of getting your way or, you know, proving your point. No, it's about coming up with a mutual solution that works for both of you so that you both are happy. You know, if you know what topics are important to your partner and yourself as well, you'll just be able to better pick your battles and, you know, not go to bat over every little thing. Chelsea and I are getting a lot better at knowing when to just shut up and not pick a battle over everything, especially me, because I was the type of person I'm just always been a really vocal person of getting things off my chest immediately, just because I don't like having the burden. But I've been better about knowing that some things just aren't worth bringing up.
Don't forget to appreciate each other. You know, make sure to compliment each other and make, you know, your partner feel loved and supported, because when you put more positive vibes into a relationship, then it's going to be a lot easier to get over the negative times, because when you're fighting, your partner's going to always know in the back of their head, but they love me, because, you know, they'll be able to better digest the criticism they're getting, because normally they're receiving positive feedback from you. So just make sure that you're putting in your part to make sure that your partner feels loved and supported, because as long as you are putting in everything you have, then you're doing your part in the relationship. You know, it's a two-way street, so you have to meet each other, and by doing this, you know, your relationship will thrive and you'll get everything you want out of it.
All right, guys, thanks again for listening to our thoughts. If you have any tips or tricks about how to better communicate in a relationship or in any friendship, please do so in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a big fat thumbs up. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and we'll check you guys out next week.
Bye!
Bye!